Well, thank you for your time to do this interview. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Well, the reason you're here is that you just recently released your new album, Body of Work. So it's been quite a while since you've released any original work. So how was it for you to have this album released?
Oh, super. I mean, yeah, I just needed to stop writing for others and write something for myself, you know. So yeah, it feels very good. I'm very happy with the with the album, with the songs, with my performance on it, and it wasn't difficult. It was almost like I was guided um, all the way, by whatever magic, whatever the universe, whatever you want to call.
Mm. Yeah, what gave you the idea to start writing something for yourself again? Or did you just have so much, leftover material from over the years?
No. This is all new material. Yeah, I mean, I have loads of leftover material, but no, this. Well, I went through like 7, 8 years of a hard time. Um, at, in my 70s, suddenly I was divorced. I didn't think, I thought that would be at that age, that would be it fine, forever. So that affected me, and then the pandemic came, and then the vaccines, and then I got an autoimmune disease, which I have, and then I got vocal atrophy, and I just didn't know. I mean, it was everything was heavy on my shoulders, and I wanted to go away from the world I could see and go into my inner world, and so that's what I did, like monks go to the mountains, I went to the studio, and I wrote about 40 songs with a good friend of mine, John Bettis, who I've written very successful songs with before, and yeah, then I went to. I thought, where do I go? Where do I record? So I had a friend I'd never worked with, and who we don't speak the same language. He's German and doesn't speak very good English, but I've known him for like 25 years, and I thought, yeah, why not try something? I knew what I wanted anyway, and so I went to the Hansa Studios because that's where his studio is. And I thought, well, David Bowie recorded there, and U2 recorded there, and Queen, and Depeche Mode, and many people. And I thought, well, it's kind of a bit like an Abbey Road place, Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe there are spirits there that will, I'm a spiritual guy, so I believe in many things. And yeah, and then it all seemed to work. I mean, to actually record with musicians, I went to Nashville, and I put together a band that plays together. And so almost like what the Wrecking Crew were in the 60s and 70s for art, for bands and groups and singers, And and then, this body of work, was there. I chose 17 songs out of the 40 songs, and I'm very happy with it,
Yeah, the way you describe it is the reason that you called it body of work, because you saw it as something like, some kind of an organism or something that just needs to live and.
I called it body of work. I mean, I always, I always let people, when they hear a song of mine and whatever they feel and make out of the song, that's great, you know, because everybody feels something different about the same song, which is amazing, you know, how what music can do, you know. So I just felt it was a good body of work. It was a good bunch of songs, you know. As I was recording it, it reminded me of the Beatles' White Album, because there are so many different songs and genres, and you know, there's everything in it, you know, lyrically and melodically, you know. um, and the way I sing them is different to the way I sang before because of the vocal atrophy. uh, um, and I just, so I told, you know, I didn't have a record company, so I called a couple of independent companies that were a little more international than just one country, you know. Uh, and and as I talked to the CEO of the company, I said, you know, his name is Max, and I said, Max, it's a really good body of work, you know. And I think that was what struck him. And he said, okay, we have a deal. We'll call it body of work. And I said, great. So it's all these connections, you know, and all these things that happen, you know, that sometimes you go through months where nothing seems to work, you know, and then suddenly you'll go through a year and a half of everything worked.
Would you say that for this record, everything worked for you? Was it like an easy process to get into after all these years?
Well, I don't know about easy, um, because, you know, life isn't easy, even if you don't write songs, you know. So I don't know about easy, but it was enjoyable. It was spiritual. Um, music, I know music heals and can help many people with whatever different things that they may have, you know. And so it was a wonderful journey, you know, and I didn't want it to stop. So when you record 5 songs and you go, oh no, let's keep going. And then I ended up with 17, you know, because you don't want it to stop.
Mhm.
When things are going right, you know, when life, when you want to, when you're grateful for being here, and you get up every morning and you know what you're going to do, and what you're going to do you love so much, you know. There's so many people in the world that are working for money and they don't even love what they do, you know. To be able to love what you do, you get up in the morning and you feel free and just part of what real life is, you know. And real life, by the way, is not, you know, just happy all the time. It's suffering, you know. And when you suffer, you learn. And you know, all these ingredients are there because I felt that, well, I felt that through my life, but I felt that when I was making the record, you know. Anything that became uh, you know, stressful, and uh, I turned it, I turned it around. I didn't even have to. It just turned itself around, you
Mhm.
know, because of what I had inside, you know, love, compassion. I'm empathetic, um, giving without expecting anything back, forgiving. I mean, all these wonderful things. When you have these things inside of you, life becomes better and things seem to work, you know.
Would you say that in a way, considering all the things you've been through in the recent years, that this writing this album was also cathartic for you?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, of course, you know. Uh, I'm more spiritual than anything else, you know, but yeah, I don't disagree with that, you know. Well, you grow up that way.
Mm.
So, you know, you have it in you anyways. It's just that, uh, you know, while I was working with Tina Turner, I got a little bit into Buddhism. Um, when I was young, I was born because of my parents. That's what they were. Um, Church of England, you know, whatever you call it in America. I think they call it Episcopalian, or I don't know. But I think it all leads to one thing, you know, and that's a greater power. And we're nothing compared. And we don't even live that long. It's like a walk in the park,
Mm.
and so um, yeah. And so I talk about this little rock that used to be my home in the lyric, for example, of some of the songs. I mention different things in songs, like on Looking Back, I mention about, you know, um, the sun that warmed my face, you know, and and the fact that I ran every losing race, and that all those things helped me to be who I am. It helped me to, you know, to realize um, how flawed humanity is, you know, uh, and how important it is to, you know, to love each other, but truly love each other. Not, it's not about sex. It's not about anything, but the true wanting your the person next to you, beside you, or around you, to feel that life is beautiful. If And the more we love each other, the more beautiful life becomes, you know. But you know, the humans are so flawed that we're jealous of anything. So if your friend does well, or he buys a car, you know, you're now you're jealous, and so you want to buy that car or a better one, because you think you're going to make him jealous, you know. And when you realize all these things, you know, when you have the wisdom of having lived almost 80 years, you know, I'm 2 months away. Um, I think you become more aware and conscious of
Mm.
what life really is, you know. And I love it. I want to live much longer because I love it, you know.
Was, you know, writing this album, was this, you know, considering that it's months away from your 80th birthday, was it also like kind of looking back on your life as a whole?
Yes, this album has everything in it. I mean, it may get lost. Um, uh, you know, that's the kind of world we live in, you know, but it's documented. It's there and it's out and people love it. So the energy, I believe in energy. We are energy anyway. So, you know, that's really what we are. We're not what we look, you know. We're just energy, but you know, I can only recognize you by what you look like, and the same you with me. Um, but you know, I always was thinking, it doesn't matter what happens. You know, the most important thing is to do it, to you know, to do what's in your heart, and let whatever happen happens. And it doesn't happen now. It may happen 40 years from now, that some young kid, you know, gets a hold of this album, um, and make something out of it, you know. And maybe this album, in 30 years or 10 years or 50 years, is the same as what's going on now. You know, when you think about it, we haven't learned much. We've been, you know, having wars for thousands of years, and we don't seem to learn that it doesn't get us anywhere except dead.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that, there's, I guess, something in your music that just feels like timeless in a way. Like all your music, even the new songs, it just sounds like it will still be relevant in like 50, 60 years from now. So, and I don't think that happens with all music if you compare it to modern pop music, for instance. Why do you think that is? Is that just because of who you are as a person that you put into your music, or is there another secret to that?
You know, I also believe in magic. And, you know, sometimes I want to leave the mystery a mystery, not for the world. If I, I think, I mean, I've never really told this story in public, but when, I mean, think of this, my mother, and her sister and her mother were evacuated during the war from Gibraltar, and all women and children were, to different parts of the world. Why my mother was sent to London, I have no idea, because the bombs were falling there, but she's always told me that, oh, by the way, my father stayed behind, all the men stayed behind, to protect the Rock of Gibraltar, And like a year and a half after, or 2 years after, or maybe 3 years after, they had all the men, they did like a lottery to see who would go to visit, who would win, this lottery. All these names were put into a hat. And my father was one of the ones who got to go, and that's how I was made. So think about that. I mean, I might, if my father hadn't won, that raffle, that lottery, he'd never have gone there. I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking, and all that music everybody loves would never have been written. So look how I'm connecting all these things, and then my mother has always told me since I can remember, and even, I mean, she died, I think, 4 years ago. This October, it'll be 4 years. She was almost 100. She was 3 months shy of 100. And she always told me that when she was pregnant with me, that she saw outside the window, and I think she was on the 3rd or 4th floor of this hotel in London, that she saw this image, she explained it like a golden image, somebody that had long hair. She didn't know it was male or female. And she kept seeing it. And sometimes she would tell her sister and her mother, and did you see that? And they couldn't see anything. And, I've thought maybe, there's something spiritual about all that. Just like the story of my father winning that thing for him to be able to go and make me. So I look at all these things, and I know there's magic, there's something so wonderful. It's almost like the birth of the universe or something. However that happened, however many explosions there were. But, that's my belief. Now, am I crazy? Maybe. But I can only tell you what's in my heart,
Mm-hmm. Well, with you saying that, it sounds like, well, this is sort of a story of like faith and things being meant to be somehow. But when did you already realize as a child, for instance, that you were going to be a musician or?
Well, probably not consciously, but in the love for music and I mean, I sang in the choir from the age of 6, and I became head choir boy at the age of 8. I even made a record at the age of 8 in 1953 that I used in 2016 on my In Symphony record, where I'm singing with myself. I mean, look at all these things. I mean, a 78 record when I was 8 years old. How did I keep that till 2016 to be able to. I mean, I traveled all over the world all the time, and my father gave me that record when I left, when I was 17 and I left, or 16. He said, "This is your record, you know, take it." And it could have broken. I could have lost it. I could have said, I don't care, you know, whatever. Why did I keep it? So you see, there's something more than you know, there's a higher thing that's made me do something that people say, you know, there's all kinds of music, but your music seems to touch people, and it seems to go on and on and on, and it doesn't matter if you were, you know, 30 years old or now that you're almost 80. When you do something, it seems to reach people, but in a different way, maybe not to make money, you know, but just to reach them. There's nothing greater in life than making people feel good. I mean, if I hadn't been someone like this, like what I am, I might have been, I don't know, maybe a doctor or something that would make people happy, you know, that they would feel safe with, or make them happy, or so what can I say? I don't want to write a book, you know.
I think at this point you maybe should consider it because you have so many stories to tell.
I know so many people tell me this, you know, but it's all in my songs and in the way I perform them. You know, I never had a great voice. I never liked my voice, you know, but it's just I don't know, the melancholy, the passion, what I sing with my heart, not with, you know, not with my mind or my throat but with my heart, and maybe that's what gets to people. And also, I like to talk about all kinds of things, you know, like Down by the River is a song about pollution. I mean, that, you know, when I first went to LA and I looked up at the Hollywood Hills, and I was so longing to see the Hollywood sign, you know, but I couldn't see it because there was this kind of yellow purple cloud. And I asked people there, what is that? You know, and they said it's pollution, you know. And I go, oh, okay. So then Down by the River came along, you know, probably
Yeah.
the first green song ever written, probably.
Well, you seem to also be inspired quite a lot, or in your career, you seem to be inspired by California, and it felt somehow fitting that you also had the album end with Goodbye LA. When I've heard that you recently sort of been spending more time back in your home country, was it important for you to write that song somehow?
Yes, it was. I mean, all songs I write are important for me to write because they come to me, and so they must say, "Hey, Albert, you know, come on, let's do it." You know, yeah, yeah, LA changed a lot since I went there. I mean, I've been there 55 years or something, 1970, or 54 years. So. Yeah, I used it a little bit more like LA was a girl, you know, I'll blow you a kiss and I'll leave it at this. Goodbye, LA, you know. Um, but really, it's Los Angeles, you know. But even so, Los Angeles is female, isn't it? Angeles, you know, the name. Um, so it was very important, you know. I chose. I mean, I chose the right person to do this record with. It just seemed right. I chose everybody I chose seemed like I was being taken by the hand to do all these things, just like all the stories I've told you about things that have happened in my life, you know. And I think that's why there isn't anybody. I mean, honestly and truthfully, it's incredible because normally you would get somebody, even somebody that doesn't like you very much, and that'll say, "Yeah, it's okay," you know, or whatever, you know. No, I mean, they've been really like talking so good about this record, you know, that I'm amazed, but I'm not really amazed because there's something there that's more than me,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah,
I'm just a source, you
well
know.
now that this album is released, what is sort of your plan for this year? Are you writing new music? Are you planning to maybe release those other songs that were, you wrote in this 1.5 years? Or are you planning to do some shows maybe at some point if your condition
No, I'm
allows?
actually doing a Christmas album because I think I can sing a Christmas album and do them my way. I think, you know, in such a way that people with an acoustic guitar at home could just pick up the guitar if they know a few chords and just play, and the whole family can sing, you know. It's so far I've recorded 15 songs. I don't know if I'll record any more, but 15 is a good, you know, amount of songs. And I've written two. Uh, oops, sorry.
No worries.
That's LA calling. Anyways, yeah, uh, I think you're gonna love it. I
Yeah,
really,
well,
I
is
think the
it
world will love this Christmas record. Yes.
is it still gonna be for 2024, or do you think it's
Yes,
gonna be
yes,
more?
yes.
Okay,
No,
that's
no,
cool.
no, no. Oh no, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You know, is it's for 2024, and I've written two songs in it. I mean, one song I wrote, one Christmas song I wrote in the late 80s. And it's already popular in many countries. I don't know if it's popular where you are, but it's called Under the Christmas Tree. You know, it's about don't forget the love under the Christmas
Mm.
tree. You know, you can put all the presents, but don't forget the love. You know, and then the other one is a kind of a today up to date kind of recording of a Christmas song. Yeah, it's very different, and it's got a little Spanish in it too. Yeah, it'll. I think my Christmas album will surprise people, and I think they will love it. You know, I really have that same feeling that I had with this body of work.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, anyway, our time is almost up. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with your fans?
Oh, um, no, just that I'm hoping to recreate myself so that I can go back on stage. You know, I can sing, but I don't last as long enough for a full concert. So I have to find a way, you know, maybe by sharing concerts with someone else, or maybe by reinventing the way I do it, maybe not a full band, you know, a little different, more intimate, more telling a story, and then playing the song in a different way. Even the Free Electric Band I could do as a ballad, and it still sounds great, you know. So yeah, tell my fans that that I want to see them again. So
Yeah.
that that's what I'm trying to do.